Hello and welcome to today's discussion with Heather Cykoski of ABB, a leading global technology company with history of excellence stretching back more than 130 years, where ABB's success is driven by about 105,000 talented employees in over 100 countries. Wow. The Council is proud to celebrate Heather Cykoski as the 2021 Global Leader of Influence by the World Affairs Council of Houston. I'm Sandia Bayou, Chief Development Officer here at the Council. It's our hope that you and your families are doing well. Heather, congratulations and welcome.
Thank you very much, indeed, and truly an honor to be with you today.
Honor is ours. If I may a little bit highlight about the actual event, that way our participants have a broader understanding of the importance of the celebration that means for us and you and the other nominees. The World Affairs Council of Greater Houston is dedicated to honoring individuals who, in spirit of Jesse H. and Mary Gibbs Jones, have contributed to the international spirit of our city. In celebration of these individuals, the World Affairs Council hosts the annual Jesse H. Jones Awards Luncheon to highlight their achievements. This year, the World Affairs Council of Houston is honored to recognize Starlee Sykes and Alistair Vickers as 2021 International Citizens of the Year. We are so thrilled that during this momentous celebration, we will also be recognizing you as a 2021 Global Leader of Influence. Global leaders are individuals who have demonstrated exceptional leadership, made a significant contribution to the international spirit of Houston, and build a lasting impact on the community. And certainly, Heather, you are well deserving of that. If I may, please just highlight some of your career accomplishments. I looked through your bio and it's so fantastic. Again, I think it's very important for others to celebrate you and get to know you through your career path as well. As the Group Vice President, you lead ABB's efforts to accelerate new growth. You are responsible for developing, implementing, and managing the relationship and total business acquisition of ABB with global customers worldwide, and leading the global engineering, procurement, construction industry business. You are a passionate global business leader with over 20 years of international experience leading multi-divisional, multicultural teams in an energy value chain. You have previously served as North American manager for BP and Shell. You are also named a Vice President of Group Accounts working with the Dow Chemical Company, where you successfully executed chemical plants and new investments in Asia, Middle East, Europe, and North America. In 2010, you led ABB's partnership with Dow Chemical and Saudi Aramco's joint venture in Saudi Arabia, a partner from concept through life cycle. Later in 2012, you managed group strategic projects, investments including East Africa's liquid natural gas and North America's Gulf Coast chemical and liquid natural gas investments. You're also very active in various community initiatives, serve on boards. Your career and personal accomplishments have been recognized throughout. Again, let me just highlight just a few of them. This year alone, Leadership Excellence Award Americas, named 10 most influential women in technology in 2020, Analytical Insights Executive of the Month, Society of Women's Engineers Executive, Global Women's Forum for Economy and Society, Paris, France, Aspen Institute of Economy, Society, and Environmental Delegate. Heather, congratulations on accomplishments. Is there something additional that I have perhaps not highlighted that you would like to bring up?
I have to say, I'm humbled and honored. And it's interesting kind of when you step back and listen to what you have been a part of for what seems like a very short period of time, but 20 years. I was referencing to you earlier, just one comment is possibly about my family. And I think many of us in this world reference how the business and family ethos collide. But when I was recognized by your organization, I did share it with my mother first. I have to say that it has been joy and excitement for her. Any person that approaches her, this is the first thing that she brings to their attention, whether she knows them or she does not. So you're getting a lot of recognition within our family. And I think being a longtime Houstonian, I was brought here by my father, who was with Mobil Oil over 43 years ago. So it's even more, shall I say, heartening that it's a part of the World Affairs Council that's being taken place here in Houston.
Oh, that's very kind, and we are happy that it's bringing joy to your family. So and as we know, ultimately, family is the most important thing that we all look forward to and being with. So that's very, very touching. Heather, not sure if you know, but we also are very active with high school students. We always say our education is certainly what we do, and our participation and students' participation with us is really what we strive for. We are in more than 40 area high schools. We are very proud of it. And we have very fantastic students that participate with us all throughout the year. And I have reached out actually to students of the Student World Affairs Councils in preparation for our discussion. They've seen your bio, and they have come back with more personal career guidance, suggestion questions that they would like to answer. I think I'm gonna, from here on, turn to their questions and keeping that next generation in mind, and we will go from there. So if you would allow me, bring up some questions. Sarah asks, from your professional career path, is there something that you might want to highlight, perhaps an accomplishment?
I get asked this question, and I often reflect and think about really what is that one thing. But for me, sometimes it's really the sum of all of the events. And I appreciate you reiterating a bit of what my journey has entailed. And a major theme is just being a part of the global community. Having an opportunity to be in the sands of Saudi Arabia, to stand with the Royal Commission and look at how can we bring 13 chemical processes to an economy that haven't been there in the past. Or if I think about my time in Mozambique, Africa, and standing with the tribe leader and saying, how are we going to make an impact on the people with the resources that have been here for thousands of years? That is something that is bone chilling, if you will. It gives you that excitement in the pitter patter of my heart. So when I think of the accomplishments and the ability to be a part of energy and making a difference, many of us want to make a difference, but to be a part, to have your feet in the ground of a completely different culture, that rings is most likely the most proudest achievements. I'm also a mother of 2 young daughters and a wife of 20 years. I'm growing, or shall I say, raising 2 children while being in this very busy world. I've had an opportunity to take them with me. And to think that we have 2 young girls who have been able to see different parts of the world and different cultures and feel it and be a part of it, and then come back to our little town. We live outside of Houston, Texas, in Pinehurst, and say, okay, well, actually, I've been to the Great Wall. I understand the hurdles and the achievements and what that's done and made in history. And that is something that might not be related to actual business, but maybe more so what I'm doing for my own children. And being that these are questions for the students, I hope that whether it's a little bit of a light that I can shed at what the opportunities and the possibilities are there for you. I always say that once I put my name out there, always feel free to reach out, because I'd love to share my story. I remember when I reached out to my mentors and how those stories impacted and helped me, drive to my path. But I do welcome that. And so I have to say the accomplishment is multiple things. It's having that ability to touch the global world, to be a part of the energy value chain, to lead teams of 800 plus, to run execution centers in multiple parts of the world, to be a female where you actually normally wouldn't see a female, but to be welcomed and to gain friendships and relationships truly is something that I have to say is magical. And I still pinch myself to this day that I've had these opportunities.
Wonderful. Jonathan would like to know, how did you arrive here? As in, we'll highlighted some of your career path, and I highlighted, you spoke to some of those when, but looking at, is there something that we haven't touched upon of how did you arrive where you are today? Jonathan is asking.
And that's been quite, if I think as well, the journey. I at a very young age, I realized that my minority could be used as a competitive advantage. In high school, I put myself in organizations like DECA, Distributed Education Clubs of America, and in those organizations, I chose automotive. I was one of the minority, if you will, to where I could stand out. Wound up looking as well within college, went the engineering route. I have to say that I think there was 5-10% females in industrial distribution, but again, something where I felt like I could make a difference by being different. From there, I was part of Texas A&M University, so had a fantastic journey with education. Didn't really, I think for many students, you don't really know where you're going to go, but you just kind of start following the route. Had a love for math, had a love for science. If I think about even being a Girl Scout and some of the, whether it's the communities or the organizations that came and spoke to myself as a child, each one of those moments impacted of where I'm at today. I have the 2 daughters that I do also hope are going to continue to aspire for engineering. I think that's also a part of why I chose this path, seeing the contributions that individuals can bring to this industry. Where am I going to go? Maybe I'll have to just finish it as well. I try to look at my career path in 5-year increments. So I'd like to just share this with those that are listening.
Yeah.
Don't look at the whole entire journey. Look at everything in 5 years. So of course, coming out of university, what was I doing? I just wanted to figure out what I was doing. From there, understand the technology, understand the macro trends. As I look kind of to my future, I do want to serve on boards. I do want to continue to make a difference. I see how each of those 5-year increments are changing and adapting. But I have to just continue to suggest that to the students. Put things in small increments because your journey will take you, it will shift. Be nimble, be ready to do something different, be ready to put yourself somewhere where you might not be comfortable. But that's where you're going to learn and experience, hopefully, the passion that drives you to continue with your career.
Absolutely. Heather, wonderful advice. And I even taking some notes to myself, I consider myself student of life, and I say I learn something every day. Well, looking back, any guidance, suggestions that you would tell younger Heather? Any suggestions, guidance that to yourself, to younger self, perhaps career or educational, maybe even personal?
I actually thank you for that, all 3. From a personal perspective, make sure you connect with people, peers, or mentors, people around you. It's those nuggets, it's the people that inspire you. It's maybe someone who you wouldn't normally have a conversation with. Definitely connect with them, because there's always stories that unite. I also am a big believer of people connect for a reason. So there's something out there that is telling you to connect with an individual. That was one of the main guiding lights for myself. Certain individuals within the industry that just made an impact and helped me believe in myself, helped me keep pushing even when I felt like possibly I wasn't going to make it. I have to say as well, it's important that you also do fail and you fail fast and you fail forward, because we're not going to learn unless we make mistakes. I can't imagine having a life without making mistakes, because that's how you learn. It's interesting as well now as I look at it as a mother, how I'm learning the experience of a 17 and 18-year-old when I never even realized some of the things that were going to take place. And I'm reaching out to my friends. How do I get through this? How do I, how can you teach me? That's a part of your career as well. And then I think as well, just make sure that whatever is giving you that passion, because when times are tough, you need that passion to get you through those times. It is stressful, to say without the least, but it's rewarding when you can accomplish something that you think is unachievable. And you look back and you appreciate the people that are around you that help you achieve that, because we achieve them together as teams, as organizations, as people connecting like with the World Affairs Council. So this is how we do things, and we do it together.
Absolutely. We speak so much about work, and you mentioned family as well. And I think the work-life balance definitely comes into this equation. And it is definitely a very important part for all of us. Is there something that you enjoy doing to step away from work, perhaps a hobby?
Yes, and two things I think of. First of all, my center, my grounding is gardening. And I believe it's a fast-paced world that we've lived in. COVID has brought, I think, a new definition to how we also make sure that we've got a balance. But I can recall on a weekly basis, I'm somewhere in the world. But as soon as I get home, I put my hands in the earth and feel that grounding. I think also recognizing to have some other things that complete your vessel. I recently wrote myself during an executive program at IMD in Lucerne, Switzerland, a letter. And I wrote it to myself, and I just recently opened it at the beginning of COVID. And what it said was slow down, nothing else. And it was a moment of just reflection for myself, because it was pre-COVID, just constant going, pushing for my career, pushing for the next opportunities, also just with an intense environment in the industry. And then when I read that slow down, it's now I keep it framed on my desk, because we do need those moments. I mean, we have to have that intensity to keep the fire, but we also need to slow down and make sure that we're taking care of ourselves, because that's the full life balance.
Absolutely. I'm going to switch a little bit questions that we visited about earlier, and kind of staying with the theme of staying away or doing other things. Actually, one of the students also wanted to know if there's a book perhaps that you are reading or can't wait to read, or is it TV series, or is it a movie coming out? Kind of on the personal Heather note, what other things? Now we know gardening is something that you enjoy, but other interests, as in maybe a book or TV show, or like I said, maybe a movie coming out that's calling your name.
So I hope it's okay. I'm always a little different. I'm going to talk about music. When my husband is gone, the TV's not on. So I can travel and never turn the TV on. But there's something about music for me. I feel that there's an emotional connection to songs. My oldest is a part of her chorale high school organization, and she just sang 3 songs, which were so incredibly moving. And I'm going to have to, Jake Runstead was one of the composers, Let My Love Be Heard, which was a very moving song, which can be interpreted in many ways. But when you hear the words, I often reflect to business or environment that I'm in. There's another song that was read, and I have to give you the name just to make sure I pronounce the composer correct. His name is Arvo Part. And it was an emotional song, and it was in Russian. And I couldn't believe when she was singing it, how I felt like I wanted to cry. And I didn't even understand the language. And then another one by Thomas Luis de Victoria. That one I reflected on because it spoke a lot about the universal spirit in the everyday. So whether it's the simple things in nature that connect us, or it's almost like you're illuminating the hidden pockets of the universe. And so for me, it's music. It's music. It's this industry. It's this ability to experience and be a part of making this world better. I don't think that, sometimes we forget to realize what we're all doing, but we're all contributors to making this world better. So every time I hear a song, I have to maybe express to everybody, maybe listen to something that you wouldn't normally listen to. Listen to a choir and just see how it makes you feel, and reflect on what that means for you in your life. But for me, that was really moving and emotional.
And I think I will definitely agree. Again, it's the music, the emotion, the words almost in some languages is perhaps better, but I said sometimes that's the emotion that is expressed through the instruments, and your mind just wanders and goes places that you didn't even anticipate that it will go. So that was thank you for sharing that. This is definitely important note for all of us. Can you believe it? We've come to almost at the very end of discussion. I think we could talk to you for another hour and two, and gain a little bit more even of your understanding and your leadership and your global experience. Kind of bring it back to Houston. Houston is a global city. It is our energy capital of the world, and we are proud of it as well. As we say at the council, what happens globally affects us locally, vice versa. We don't live in isolation. Where do you see Houston in perhaps the next 10 years?
I've always felt and have said that Houston is one of the energy capitals of the world. And I think about how important, whether it's the dynamic shifts in energy or geopolitics, Houston has been an epicenter for that. And being a city that is made up of many companies who've invested in this city, energy is kind of at the center of our core. I was brought here as a 1-year-old for energy. So I think that it will continue to be kind of that global energy ecosystem. We have a big impact on emerging industries. We have a big impact on advancing technologies. As we're watching the centers of demand grow, it's almost like you watch what happens in Houston to see what's going to happen in the rest of the world. But I think as I've watched companies internationally come here and invest as well, I continue to believe that we're going to see more of that. It's a center of opportunity. I know that to just speaking to neighbors or colleagues or friends, there's always one connection of an individual that's a part of the energy network that we have here. And then also I think about our low carbon future and those of us that are a part of sustainability. It's going to be important for us here locally to continue to invest in those types of strategies as well. ABB, we have offices all over the world, 100 different countries, but this without a doubt is one of our major centers.
Wonderful. Heather, thank you for your time today. Congratulations once more. We are so looking forward to seeing you and celebrating you on October 14th. There are more details, of course, on our website at wachouston.org. Again, congratulations. We're excited, honored that you will be with us, and look forward to recognizing with you. And if there's a family member or 2 or 3 you'd like to bring, please bring them for that special day. Any closing remarks, Heather?
I might have to do that,
Yes.
especially my mother, who's the happiest as can be. I think maybe just my appreciation again to you. It's such an honor, and And sometimes you forget, how impactful we are. But your recognition means a lot. I think our commitments to our communities mean a lot, and what you're doing for the students and the high school students, and that we all, as members of this community, continue to do so, because that's how we give back and that's how we all contribute. So please know that I'll always be there to support this organization. And those of you, I'll pass out my information. If there's anything I can do to help you along your journey, it would be my honor to. So again, thank you. And I look forward to seeing you soon.
Wonderful. Thank you again. And that concludes our discussion today. Thank you, Heather.
Thank you. Bye-bye.